Welcome to the Playing Books podcast, where we open the pages of remarkable books to extract the knowledge and insights that can truly transform your life. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into a true classic, a book that has profoundly guided millions through the ever-changing landscape of work for over 5 decades. Richard Bolles' What Color is Your Parachute? This isn't just a book, it's practically a global phenomenon. It's frequently lauded with phrases like the Bible of career advice and credited with having changed the course of more people's lives than almost any book except the Bible. We're talking about a volume that has been consistently in print since 1970, meticulously revised and updated annually since 1975, and impressively translated into over 20 languages. Its enduring relevance is really a testament to its foundational wisdom, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. What's truly striking about What Color is Your Parachute is its remarkable endurance and its expansive global impact. You mentioned Bernard Haldane, a significant pioneer in career planning. He expressed his deepest respect for his wonderful writing and promotion that have inspired establishment of the career planning profession. That's huge.
Wow. Yeah.
And G.L. Hoffman from Job Dig points out a powerful truth. The reason that section on jobs, careers, or networking even exists is because of Dick Bolles. It unequivocally underscores the book's foundational, almost revolutionary role in shaping how we approach career guidance and job searching today.
So it didn't just offer advice.
No, it helped define the entire professional discipline. Really foundational stuff.
Absolutely. The impact is undeniable. And the testimonials are just incredible, painting such a vivid picture of its transformative power. Like, consider Eric Wentworth, who during one of his lowest points back in 1982-83 stumbled upon a copy. He credits that book with genuinely turning him around, opening doors to possibilities he simply couldn't have imagined on his own.
That's amazing. A single book.
Right. A profound statement literally shifting the trajectory of a life. Then there's Evelyn Marinowski, who, after a 30-year career, is now on her third copy.
Third copy.
Yeah. And she can't believe how much better each one gets. Plus, they stay so timely and relevant. It speaks volumes about the book's adaptive nature and Ball's commitment to keeping it current.
Constantly updated.
Exactly. And we also have Anthony DeLisi, a recent university graduate who, thanks to the book's practical exercises, found his perfect job. Get this, at a nonprofit facilitating cleft lip and palate surgeries in China and Africa.
Wow.
A role that quite literally matched every single attribute he had listed for his ideal position.
But that's the power of those exercises.
These aren't just feel-good stories. They're compelling proof of a powerful, actionable methodology at work. So, our mission today for you is to unpack the timeless wisdom embedded within this remarkable book. We'll explore its powerful stories, its most incisive quotes, and, critically, its practical exercises. Our challenge to you is to actively engage with these ideas, to let them enhance your life, and ultimately to guide you toward truly meaningful work. Consider this deep dive your comprehensive roadmap, not just of finding a job, but to discovering your job, that unique role you are truly meant to do, especially in a world that is always evolving and, frankly, demanding new approaches. So to begin our journey, let's delve into one of Bolles' most compelling assertions. It's a whole new world for job hunters. The book tells us that the landscape of work has been fundamentally and permanently altered since the Great Recession in 2008. The old rules, they just don't apply anymore. Strategies that once worked efficiently are now largely ineffective. What used to be straightforward has become incredibly complex, often leading many people to mistakenly believe there are simply no jobs out there. So, what exactly changed so dramatically, and why does Bolles argue we need such a fundamentally new approach to something as universal as finding work?
Yeah, this point is absolutely critical as our starting line. The core insight is that the job hunt changed dramatically after 2008, affecting virtually all traditional strategies in a lasting way. Bolles emphasizes that while the economy has seen recovery since the recession, the underlying economic landscape has been fundamentally re-sculpted for the long term.
So it's not temporary.
Exactly. This isn't a temporary blip. It's a permanent shift that demands a new mindset, updated tools, and a more proactive, informed approach from every job seeker. Ignoring these shifts is kind of like bringing a map from 1950 to navigate a modern city. It just won't work.
That's a great analogy. That distinction between temporary blip and permanent shift is so important. The book identifies 4 key transformations that vividly illustrate this new reality. The first, and perhaps most jarring, is that employers changed, job hunters didn't.
No.
We, as job seekers, often find ourselves clinging to comfortable traditional habits, polishing our resumes, scanning online job boards, registering with employment agencies.
Either ways.
Right. But if employers have fundamentally altered their approach, what's the core disconnect here, and why haven't job hunters collectively caught up?
That's precisely the central problem. It's easy to assume, when traditional methods fail, that there simply are no jobs. It feels that way sometimes.
Mm.
However, Bolles counters this by stating unequivocally that there are over 10 million vacancies available each month in the U.S. alone.
10 million a month.
Yeah. The real issue isn't a scarcity of opportunities, but rather that employers fundamentally changed their hiring behavior after 2008. And job hunters, by and large, haven't adapted their strategies. We're still relying on methods like blindly sending resumes.
Which don't work well.
Right, which, as the book will later reveal, have a notoriously low success rate, sometimes as low as 4% for online postings, or maybe 7% for mailing out, if they even lead to an interview.
Wow.
Employers are now hunting for talent differently, and if we don't understand and align with those new behaviors, we are operating at a significant disadvantage from the outset.
And this next statistic truly puts the urgency of a new approach into perspective. The length of the average job hunt has increased dramatically. Before 2008, it was common for half of all unemployed job seekers to find a job within 5 weeks. 5 weeks.
Pretty quick.
Now, a significant percentage, anywhere from 17% to 30% of all unemployed individuals in the U.S. spend over a year looking for work. A year or more.
That's a huge jump.
The book even references those alarming the people who will never work again headlines we saw during the recession. Is this really creating a permanent underclass, or does Bolles offer hope for those facing prolonged unemployment?
Well, while it's certainly a serious challenge, the book argues it's not an inevitable doom and gloom scenario for everyone. Bolles very powerfully emphasizes that a lot depends on an individual's job hunting skills.
Okay, so it's about skill.
It forces us to ask ourselves,
Yeah.
are your skills in this arena stuck in the 1990s, using outdated approaches, or are they genuinely updated for today's dynamic market? This is a crucial call to action for personal development, rather than just passively analyzing market conditions. It also highlights the hidden unemployment figures, like 455,000 people are discouraged and have given up looking.
So they're not even counted.
Right. And another 1,080,000 may be outside the labor force for other reasons, like school or family care. These individuals aren't counted in official unemployment stats, which means the reported figures don't always tell the whole complex story of available labor or untapped potential.
Okay.
The hope lies in recognizing that the market is accessible, but requires updated tactics.
It's clear that the job hunt itself has become more arduous, but Bolles identifies a third shift. The length of time the average job lasts has decreased dramatically. This particular statistic truly caught my attention. For young workers, those between 18 and 24, a staggering 69% of their jobs lasted less than a year.
Wow, 69%.
Yeah, and 93% lasted less than 5 years. Even for more experienced workers, age 40-48, 32% of jobs lasted less than a year, and 69% lasted less than 5. This points directly towards a fundamental redefinition of employment stability, often referred to as the gig economy trend.
What's truly striking here is the sheer scale of this transformation. We're not just talking about a few outliers, we're talking about millions. For instance, the book notes 5,272,000 people wanting full-time work, but only finding part-time. That's a lot of people underemployed.
Huge number.
And looking ahead, Bolles projects that by 2020, as many as 60 million or 40% of the U.S. workforce could be comprised of part-timers, temporary workers, free agents, or freelancers.
40%.
40%. This trend, first powerfully highlighted by Daniel Pink in his seminal 2001 book Free Agent Nation, fundamentally means that job stability, as we once understood it, is largely a relic of the past for a vast segment of the workforce.
Right.
It signifies a profound shift, placing more onus on individuals like you to navigate your own careers, build your own security, and continuously adapt to a more fluid work environment.
And the final piece of this evolving puzzle is how technology itself is reshaping roles, particularly with the acceleration of the Internet of Things, all the smart devices and sensors now integrated into everything.
Everywhere.
From manufacturing plants to our homes, and the omnipresent discussion around artificial intelligence, or AI. Many people live with the very real fear that robots are coming for all our jobs, leading to widespread unemployment. What does Bolles' book say about this, and should we truly be fearing an army of job-stealing robots taking over?
Well, this prompts us to ask a critical question about the very future of work. While some futurists do indeed predict widespread job elimination, Bolles provides a more nuanced perspective. He cites experts who predict that only 5%, or at worst maybe 19%, of jobs will be completely replaced by technology.
Okay, so not everything.
Not everything. The more important and, I think, optimistic insight is that most jobs will evolve into a partnership between humans and machines.
A partnership. Interesting.
Yeah. This means we need to fundamentally reimagine our attitude towards technology, seeing machines as friends come to help us with certain tasks, not as an enemy come to steal our jobs away.
Hmm.
This demands new skills and a profound adaptability, specifically in how we interact with, design, manufacture, operate, maintain, and repair these increasingly sophisticated sensors and robots, which are becoming principal actors in nearly every workplace.
Right.
It's less about replacement and more about augmentation and collaboration.
So, given all these dramatic long-term shifts, employers changing their hiring game, longer job hunts, shorter job durations, and the rise of AI and IoT fundamentally altering how work is done. What's the overarching message for us, the job hunters, right now as we navigate this incredibly dynamic and, frankly, uncertain landscape?
It means we must profoundly reimagine our own lives in the world of work. Bowles doesn't leave us without a path forward, though. He suggests we begin by knowing ourselves better, by taking a thorough inventory of yourself to give us something solid to stand on amidst all this swirling change.
The self-inventory, that seems key.
It is. This self-knowledge, knowing who you truly are, what you genuinely like and do best, what kindles your intellectual curiosity, and what environment enables you to do your most effective work, has never been more vital. It's critical for navigating a world where sensors and robots are becoming principal actors, requiring us to consider training for new roles in their design, manufacture, operation, maintenance, and repair. Bolles even suggests that a practical first step could be to shadow a worker in a field that interests you for a day or two to gain a first-hand understanding of what the work actually involves.
Good idea.
This isn't just theory, it's about active engagement in defining your future.
With that broader context of a changing job market, the book then brilliantly shifts our focus to something entirely within our control, our online presence. It introduces the potent idea that Google is your new resume. This really struck me because it highlights a profound departure from the old days where you had absolute control over what went on your paper resume.
Total control back then.
Exactly. Now, any prospective employer just has to Google your name, and as Bolles succinctly puts it, Google has become both noun and verb. So what does this new resume truly entail, and how do we manage it effectively and strategically in today's digital-first world?
Yeah, this point is no longer just crucial, it's foundational for any job seeker today. The core insight is that your online presence is unequivocally your primary resume, whether you actively curate it or not.
Whether you like it or not.
Exactly. You must proactively manage it, because if you don't, others or old information will manage it for you. Bells highlights that before the internet, your resume was a careful crafted summary you controlled. But since 2008, and even earlier, that control has diminished significantly. Employers are not just reviewing your application, they are investigating your digital footprint. They're Googling you.
Right. The book states that anything you've posted on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, or even your own personal blog, website, or photo album can be revealed, depending on your privacy settings, of course. It declares quite starkly, bye-bye control. So for job hunters feeling a loss of agency, how do we regain some sense of control, or at least strategically make their Google resume work for them instead of inadvertently against them?
Well, what's genuinely fascinating here is that the strategy isn't about hiding your past, but about proactive curation and optimization. It's about meticulously cleaning up, carefully editing, thoroughly filling in, and strategically expanding what employers will find when they search for you.
So an online audit, basically.
Exactly. This means conducting a thorough audit of everything publicly available about you online, seeing it through the eyes of a critical hiring manager. Beyond social media, Bolles also thoughtfully mentions the importance of managing your search history on Google or Bing.
Oh, interesting. Didn't think that.
Yeah, offering practical tips on how to erase it for super peace of mind, and even suggesting privacy-focused alternatives like DuckDuckGo for future searches. It's about taking comprehensive charge of your entire digital narrative, leaving nothing to chance.
And speaking of online presence, LinkedIn is consistently highlighted as the Swiss Army knife of job sites. With at least 467 million people worldwide using it, including a massive 133 million in the US alone, it's clearly the dominant professional networking platform. How can job hunters ensure their LinkedIn profile is not just present, but truly effective, actively standing out to potential employers who are increasingly using it for initial candidate screening?
The book provides very specific and actionable hints for maximizing your LinkedIn presence. First, always remember its professional context. Don't post anything here that isn't related to your professional goal.
Keep it professional.
Keep it professional. This means no party photos or personal vacation updates. Keep it strictly career-focused. Second, when describing past jobs, don't just list mundane tasks. LinkedIn provides ample space for you to tell a story of your major achievements, backing them up with measurable results, quantify the time or money saved, or the profit created.
Show impact.
Demonstrate impact, not just activity. Third, and critically, listing your skills increases the likelihood that your LinkedIn profile will be viewed 13 times more often.
13 times.
Yeah, as recruiters often search by specific capabilities. Fourth, utilize the summary section to state your competitive advantage. Articulate clearly why you are a uniquely better fit than 19 other equally qualified candidates for the job you desire.
Okay.
Fifth, for specialties, think like an employer. List every possible keyword they might use to find someone with your expertise.
Smart.
A clever trick here is to look at the profiles of people who already hold your dream job and integrate relevant keywords from their profiles. Sixth, don't neglect hobbies, interests, education, and community service. These round out your profile and provide a more holistic view of who you are. And finally, number 7, add ED links to any website that helps you stand out.
Like a portfolio or blog.
Exactly. A professional blog where you share industry insights, a portfolio of your work, or even a YouTube video where you discuss your expertise. This holistic approach weaves a rich, compelling, and professional tapestry of your abilities.
It sounds like LinkedIn is a powerful, dynamic tool when used correctly. But what about creating other digital assets beyond LinkedIn? Blogs, Twitter, and videos are all mentioned as powerful platforms. How should job hunters strategically approach these to further enhance their online resume?
Right, beyond LinkedIn. For blogs, Bolles advises starting one focused narrowly on your specific area of expertise. The key is posting helpful articles focused on action steps.
Action steps.
Okay. Yeah. For example, if you're an expert plumber, you might blog about how to fix a leaky toilet or common plumbing emergencies rather than philosophical musings. Employers seek concrete, actionable content that showcases your practical knowledge. For Twitter, it's about identifying and engaging with relevant hashtags that employers are likely to search for when seeking talent in your field. This positions you as an active, informed participant in your industry. And for videos, the book emphatically states that presentation is moving strongly these days toward the visual. Your smartphone is perfectly capable of recording surprisingly high-quality video.
True.
And YouTube is the undisputed champion platform for boasting billions of views daily. This offers a dynamic way to showcase your personality, your communication skills, and your expertise in a way that static text just can't.
After all this intensive effort in curating a robust and engaging digital presence, the book then suggests composing an old-type resume. Now, this might seem counterintuitive to some, given our digital focus. Why is this traditional document still relevant, and what should go into this essential starter kit for writing an effective resume in today's world?
Yeah, it does seem a bit backward at first, doesn't it? But this brings up a critical question about synthesis and organization. The old-type resume still serves a vital purpose: to summarize and organize the pertinent information about yourself concisely in one place.
Ah, like a central hub.
Exactly. So that when an employer, after Googling you, encounters a myriad of information scattered across the internet, they also find this nice and concise, providing a structured overview. The starter kit that Bolles details is about being incredibly quantitative, using specific dates, percentages, dollars saved, and brand names where applicable.
Numbers matter.
Numbers really matter. It covers every possible area of your experience: volunteer work, educational achievements like scholarships, awards, high grades, committee involvement, sales and account management, exceeding budgets, increasing market share, major client wins, awards, promotional ideas,
Okay, very thorough.
responsibility, purchases, budget oversight, staff management, training, software you've used or developed, including apps, websites, social media expertise, any mechanical experience, building or construction projects, your general industry tenure, and crucially, positive feedback received, commendations, awards, examples of excellent customer service. It's a comprehensive framework designed to ensure you haven't overlooked any valuable experience or skill that could strengthen your candidacy.
And finally, what are some crucial friendly reminders about this pre-Google resume and its alternatives that job hunters should absolutely keep in mind? These small details can often make a big difference, right?
Oh, absolutely. Bolles offers very practical and often overlooked tips. First, be cautious about including your full address or home phone number, especially if you're distributing your resume broadly online.
Privacy concerns.
Exactly. Privacy concerns. An email address should suffice for initial contact. Second, if sending a resume by email, avoid relying solely on attachments. Many employers, wary of viruses, won't open them.
Good point.
It's often better to copy and paste the text into the body of the email and, if appropriate, send a nicer formatted version via postal service as a follow-up. Third, if you are snail mailing a resume, the quality of the paper genuinely matters. Employers, on average, spend only 8 seconds glancing at a resume.
8 seconds.
8 seconds. And the feel of the paper can subconsciously influence their perception. Use a good quality paper, at least 28 pounds, and ensure it's nicely laid out with a decent-sized, readable font, 12 or 14 point. Fourth, and crucially, the sole purpose of your resume is to get yourself invited in for an interview, period.
Just the interview.
Just the interview. It's not to sell you entirely or to be a true confessions document. Omit anything puzzling or potentially off-putting. Save detailed explanations for the interview. Fifth, be acutely aware of keywords for online resumes, particularly if you're posting without specific employers in mind. Resources like Squawk Fox are mentioned for guidance. And finally, never include references directly on your resume. It's better to offer them after an employer has expressed serious interest, and always ensure you have their written permission.
And that they'll say good things.
Exactly. Confident that they will provide a raving recommendation, not a brutally honest one that might not serve you well. Beyond the resume itself, Bolles stresses the importance of alternatives like a personalized cover letter, often preferred by employers, or a job portfolio showcasing your proof of performance, which offers tangible evidence of your capabilities.
Now, here's where it truly gets profound, I think. Bolles states, the job hunt hasn't changed in its essence since 2008. Now, wait a minute. This seems to contradict everything we've just discussed about a whole new world and dramatic shifts. How can both of these seemingly opposing statements be true, that the job hunt has changed dramatically yet hasn't changed at all?
Yeah, it sounds like a contradiction, but it's actually a very crucial distinction that Bolles wants us to grasp. If we connect this to the bigger picture, the book explains the difference between the essence and the surface behavior or form of the job hunt.
Essence versus form. Okay.
Exactly. The surface behavior indeed changes dramatically with every technological innovation. Think the advent of computers, the internet, smartphones, digital resumes, the Internet of Things. Each new technology alters how we hunt for jobs, the tools we use, the platforms we engage with.
Right, the mechanics change.
The mechanics change. However, beneath all that surface change, the essence of the job hunt never truly changes. Job hunting, at its core, is all about human nature. And in its essence, Bolles argues, it's most like the human activity we call dating.
Dating. Okay, explain that.
Both boil down to two fundamental, deeply human questions. Do you like me, from the employer's perspective, and do I like you, from the job seeker's perspective? If both answers are yes, then it's do you want to try going steady, which is like the job offer.
Oh, okay, I get it.
This applies equally to dating and to job hunting. So when you focus on this fundamental human essence rather than just the evolving forms, the underlying principles of a successful job hunt remain remarkably constant.
That dating analogy is quite striking and immediately relatable. So, the first question, do you like me, quote, applies to the employer they're assessing if we can do the job and if we'll be a good fit for their culture. But Bolles emphasizes a second, equally important question that we, the job hunters, must actively ask ourselves. Do I like you?
Oh, but
How can we possibly figure this out proactively before accepting a job we might grow to hate, potentially leading to frustration and another job search later?
Well, this raises an important question about proactive decision-making and genuine job satisfaction. We certainly don't want to wait 3 years to find out the answer to whether we genuinely like the job, the team, and the employer.
Right, avoid that mistake.
Exactly. Bolles' core philosophy is that the goal is to discover if you like the job and the employer during the job hunt and interview process itself. This means approaching interviews not just as an opportunity for them to assess you, but as a critical platform for you to assess them.
Be an investigator, too.
Absolutely. It's about asking insightful questions, observing the workplace culture, and truly understanding the daily realities of the role to ensure it aligns with your needs and values for truly meaningful and sustainable work. It's a two-way street where you have as much agency as the employer in determining a good fit.
The book also highlights a crucial statistic that profoundly challenges common perceptions about the job market. There are over 10 million vacancies available each month. Again, this seems to directly contradict the prevailing narrative that there are no jobs out there, or that unemployment figures imply a static, saturated market. How does Bolles explain this apparent contradiction when compared to, say, the 211,000 net jobs added in a typical month that we hear about?
What's truly illuminating here is Bowles' analogy of the dress shop. The current population survey, CPS, which reports the monthly unemployment rate, is like counting the dresses at the beginning and end of a month, for example. Only 211,000 jobs added in April 2017.
A net change.
Right? That figure represents the net change in the overall workforce size. However, the job openings and labor turnover survey, Joel Tutz, reveals the actual change day by day, like observing the daily deliveries and sales in that dress shop.
The turnover.
Exactly. It shows millions of people finding work and millions of vacancies remaining unfilled, indicating an incredibly dynamic market. In April 2017, for instance, there were over 10 million jobs available.
10 million available, even with lower net gains.
Right. This is not a static market where jobs simply disappear. It's a constantly churning, dynamic environment with immense flux and numerous opportunities. The key, as Bowles argues, is understanding how to access those often unadvertised positions rather than just looking at the aggregate numbers.
This understanding of a dynamic market leads us directly to mastering the interview process. The book provides 16 tips about interviewing for a job and even lists the 10 greatest mistakes made in job interviews. For job hunters, what are some of the most critical do's and don'ts from these comprehensive lists that we should focus on to truly excel?
Well, the core insight here is that interviewing is a highly learnable skill, and understanding employer psychology is absolutely key to success. Bowles' 10 greatest mistakes are incredibly insightful and serve as crucial don'ts for any job seeker. For instance, going after large organizations only is a common pitfall because they often have more layers and are harder to penetrate.
Makes sense.
Allowing the human resources department to interview you alone is problematic because, as the book suggests, their primary function is often to screen you out, not necessarily to find the best fit for the specific department.
Interesting perspective.
Letting your resume be the only agenda discussed is a huge missed opportunity. You need to drive the conversation to highlight your value. And talking primarily about yourself throughout the interview shows a lack of focus on the employer's needs.
It's not all about you.
Exactly. And a recurring theme that strongly underlines the importance of follow-up is not sending a thank you note right after the interview, a fundamental error that costs many candidates.
The thank you note. Crucial.
Absolutely crucial. On the do side, the book stresses the absolute necessity of doing your homework on an organization, researching it thoroughly, and approaching the employer not as a job beggar, but as a valuable resource with solutions to offer. You're there to help them solve their problems, not just to get a paycheck.
The book makes a truly provocative claim. There is no such thing as employers, only individuals. This really challenges the way we often generalize about the job market and its perceived obstacles. How does this perspective fundamentally change how we should approach interviews and our overall job hunt?
That prompts us to ask a critical question about individual perception and the dangers of generalizing. Bolles argues that referring to employers as a monolithic, faceless entity is merely a mental convenience that often leads to discouragement.
Right, like they're all the same.
Exactly. In reality, employers are individuals, as different from one another as night and day. You simply cannot predict the attitude, biases, or needs of one employer from another. There are millions of separate, distinct, unrelated employers out there, and the book's persistent, encouraging message is that some employer is looking for you, no matter your background, age, or any perceived handicap or challenge you might face.
That's empowering.
It is. This deeply personal approach empowers job hunters to foster persistence and keep going until they find that specific individual who values their unique talents and contributions. It also highlights a practical point. Large employers with hundreds or thousands of employees are often harder to reach and navigate than small employers, with perhaps 25, 100 employees whose interviewing experience might be vastly different and more direct.
Bolles also introduces a very specific and intriguing guideline, the 19-minute rule for self-initiated interviews. What's the rationale behind this precise timing, and how does it relate to that powerful idea that an interview for a job is a lot like dating?
Yeah, the 19-minute rule, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this rule is specifically for appointments you initiated, where you asked for their valuable time.
Okay, when you reach out first.
Precisely. It's about respecting their schedule and, crucially, leaving them wanting more, like a perfectly paced first date.
Don't overstay your welcome.
Exactly. You leave a positive impression and create an anticipation for a second meeting. It strongly reinforces the dating analogy because an interview is fundamentally a two-way decision.
Hmm.
In that initial self-initiated interview, you're primarily testing the waters, gathering information about the workplace, the people, the culture,
Checking them out.
checking them out. If, after this initial assessment, you decide you genuinely like them and the opportunity, then you shift your energy towards confidently marketing yourself and asking for the job. The main purpose of that first interview, when you've initiated it, is simply to get invited back for a deeper conversation.
Got it.
If they invited you, of course, then they set the time and duration. That's different.
That's incredibly strategic. So it's about being intentional and recognizing the two-way nature of the process. Beyond the stated questions, employers often have unspoken, deeper questions they're trying to answer about you. Bolles outlines 5 basic questions they're really trying to answer. What are these, and how should we prepare to address them to truly impress?
Right, the hidden questions. Bolles brilliantly simplifies this complex dynamic into 5 crucial underlying questions that every employer wants answered. They may not ask them directly, but their minds are seeking answers to. 1. Why are you here? Meaning, why my door, why this specific organization, and why not somewhere else?
Okay. 2, what can you do for us? How will you specifically help with our challenges, and what are your most relevant skills and knowledge?
The value proposition.
Exactly. 3, what kind of person are you? This they observe quietly through your demeanor, your interactions, your overall presence.
4. Can we afford you? You must be prepared to make a compelling case for your worth, demonstrating the value you bring that justifies your salary expectations. And 5. Can I persuade them to hire me at the salary I need or want? This, of course, ties into strategic salary negotiation, which Bolles always stresses should take place at the very end.
Right, timing again.
For questions 1 and 2, you'll probably ask them aloud in some form during your research or interview. For the third, you quietly observe. And for the last 2, you make your case confidently when the timing is right. Critically, Bolles emphasizes that employers are not impressed by vague, generic statements. They crave concrete examples. You should give them brief stories from your past experience that demonstrate you have those very skills they're looking for.
Stories are powerful.
Those stories are your most powerful currency in an interview.
That's incredibly practical advice, turning abstract skills into compelling narratives. But beyond what we say, employers also carry a range of fears when hiring, often rooted in past bad experiences. Bolles lists a daunting range of anxieties that come with hiring the wrong person. How do job hunters effectively allay these fears and present themselves as a low-risk, high-reward candidate rather than a potential problem?
Employers are primarily, almost universally, concerned about risk. Bolles stresses that the cost of hiring the wrong person can cost the employer 1 to 5 times the bad hire's annual salary, or more.
That's a huge cost.
Huge. Their fears are extensive and deeply practical,
Mm-hmm.
that you'll lack the necessary skills, won't consistently put in a full day's work, will take frequent sick days, will leave quickly, will make too long to master the job, or worse, or even worse, possess a disastrous character flaw like dishonesty, spreading dissension, or negativity. There's also the very real fear, especially in larger organizations, that hiring you will discredit the hiring manager's judgment.
Wow, lots of fear there.
Yeah. The overarching strategy for you, the job hunter, is to show them you are the very opposite of these fears. This means demonstrating professionalism by being punctual, thoroughly prepared, focusing intently on their agenda and problems, and articulating that your sole goal is to increase the organization's effectiveness, service, and bottom line.
Focus on them.
Focus on them. This involves understanding their values and clearly demonstrating enthusiasm, unwavering dependability, a positive attitude, and a laser focus on their needs. Bolles even mentioned, surprisingly, that avoiding smoking can be a factor, as non-smokers often win out 94% of the time in a race between equally qualified candidates.
Interesting detail.
And bringing concrete evidence of your skills, like a polished portfolio of your work, can also significantly reduce their perceived risk, offering tangible proof of your capabilities. Make yourself seem like the safe, smart bet.
Finally, let's talk about the tactical aspects of closing the interview process, asking for the job, and the legendary thank you note. Why are these seemingly small gestures so profoundly crucial to your success, according to Bolles' book?
Right, the closing moves. Principle #15 is clear, direct, and often overlooked. Always, always, always ask for the job at the end of an interview, assuming, of course, you've genuinely decided you want to work there.
You have to actually want it.
Yes, sincerity matters.
Uh,
Bowles makes a bold claim, stating, often this will get you the job. I kid you not. This simple, assertive act, when delivered with sincerity and confidence, can often seal the deal, distinguishing you from other candidates who hesitate.
I'd be shy.
Don't be shy. And then, principle #16, a critical follow-up. Always send a thank you note the same day. And not just to the primary interviewer, but to everyone you talk to at that place.
Everyone.
Everyone. Bowles suggests sending both a digital version, email for speed, and a more personal, nicer postal version as well. This isn't merely about politeness. It actively backs up your claim of good skills with people, helps the employer recall who you are, especially if they've seen a dozen candidates that day.
Helps you stand out.
Exactly. And makes you stand out from the others in a very tangible way. It's a vital reinforcement of your professionalism, your attention to detail, and your genuine enthusiasm for the role. Don't skip it.
Let's transition now to a part of the job hunt that many people dread, but which Bowles demystifies: the 6 secrets of salary negotiation. For many job hunters, this is the most uncomfortable and intimidating part of the entire process. What's the very first secret the book reveals, and why is timing absolutely everything when it comes to discussing money?
Yeah, the dreaded salary talk. The core insight here is that salary negotiation is not an aggressive confrontation, but a highly strategic process that is best executed at a specific stage. The first secret is unequivocal. Never discuss salary until the end of the whole interviewing process, when and if they have definitely said they want you.
Wait until they make the offer, basically.
Pretty much, or at least clearly indicate they want to hire you. Bringing up salary prematurely can be an immediate deal breaker because at that early stage, you haven't yet had the opportunity to fully demonstrate your value, build rapport, or articulate how you uniquely align with the organization's specific needs. Until they're convinced you're the right person, any salary discussion is abstract and risky.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth secret, also vital, is before you go to the interview, do some careful research on typical salaries for your field and in that organization. This preparation is non-negotiable and provides you with essential leverage.
That makes perfect sense. You need to establish your value first. How can we conduct this crucial salary research, both online and off, to ensure we're prepared and confident when that conversation finally happens and we're not just guessing?
Right, research is key. For online research, Bowles recommends several invaluable free sites such as salary.com, glassdoor.com, indeed.com, and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. These platforms can provide detailed data for particular geographical regions, specific positions, occupations, or industries, and sometimes even offer insights into particular organizations.
Lots of online tools.
Yes. If you strike out online or need more granular data, offline research becomes equally important. Bowles' rule here is to abandon books and instead talk to people.
Talk to people.
Talk to people. This means speaking directly with workers currently in similar jobs, contacting HR departments for salary ranges, sometimes they'll give ranges, or even perusing local newspaper ads for positions that might offer salary disclosures. If a company is particularly secretive about its pay scales, the astute advice is to research their nearest competitor in the same geographic area and reasonably assume similar pay structures.
Good tip.
The goal is to walk in with an informed range, not a blind guess.
So once you've done your research and the time is right for negotiation, what about the actual back and forth? The book provides a clever asking range strategy. Can you explain how this works to maximize their potential earnings rather than just settling for their first offer?
Okay, the asking range. This prompts us to ask the critical question about strategically maximizing your worth. If, through your research, you're able to guess the employer's salary range for the position, for example, let's say it's between $36,500 and $47,200.
Okay.
Bowles suggests your asking range should cleverly hook in just below that employer's maximum and then go up from there.
So aim high, but based on their max.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in our example, you might propose a range of $37,000 to $58,000. This strategy is powerful because it implies that you expect to be extremely productive, providing a strong, confident justification for the higher figure. It anchors the negotiation higher.
Mm-hmm.
Furthermore, Bowles introduces an ingenious suggestion from Daniel Perot, a renowned job expert from Switzerland. If an employer genuinely can't meet your desired salary, but you're still keen to work for them,
What then?
you might offer to work part of your time. For instance, proposing 3 days a week for 3/5 of the salary allows you to gain a foothold, prove your value, and leaves you free for other work or projects, effectively creating a win-win.
Creative solution. I like that. That's incredibly insightful. It's about being creative and valuing your time. Now, let's turn to what Bolles calls the parachute approach. This represents a significant departure from the traditional approach we briefly mentioned earlier, which Ball says works on average just 4% of the time for online postings and only 7% of the time for mailing resumes. I mean, that's a truly terrible track record. But what is the core difference of the parachute approach, and why is it so much more effective in today's job market?
Yeah, those traditional numbers are just shocking, right? Bolles makes it unequivocally clear. The traditional approach, with its passive focus on job boards, employment agencies, and blanket resume sending, has a really terrible track record because it's essentially a numbers game where the odds are stacked against you. The parachute approach, by sharp contrast, begins not with examining the job market, but with examining yourself.
Start with yourself.
Start with yourself. It compels you to step back and first think about your whole life, starting with who are you, before considering what shall I do.
Yeah.
This profound emphasis on self-inventory is absolutely critical, as it enables you to describe in detail exactly what you are looking for in a job and a life.
Clarity.
Clarity. This clarity then allows your network, your friends, your LinkedIn contacts, your family to help you far more effectively because they know precisely what kind of prize you're seeking. This focused, intentional approach dramatically increases your persistence because you're fighting for a prize worth fighting for, rather than just any job. Bolles beautifully illustrates this with the story of a former professor from China who, after 3 weeks of diligently completing the flower exercise, secured 2 job offers in 2 weeks, including a controller position with a small company. She credited the parachute approach for helping her realize there are jobs out there and there are 2 types of employers out there, and truly there are. A testament to its power to shift perception and create opportunity.
Here's where it gets really interesting and perhaps even a bit counterintuitive. Bolles claims that by doing this in-depth homework on yourself, by truly understanding your unique capabilities and desires, you can even inspire employers to create one for you, create a job that didn't previously exist. How is that even possible? It sounds almost too good to be true.
Well, what's truly fascinating here is the anecdotal evidence that consistently supports this remarkable claim. Bolles shares the compelling story of a job hunter who, after thoroughly completing her self-inventory and knowing exactly where she wanted to work, proactively identified the CEO of that company on LinkedIn.
Went straight to the top.
Straight to the top. She didn't apply for an existing role. Instead, she pitched the innovative idea of setting up a training academy for their organization.
Wow, bold move.
Bold move. 6 months later, she landed the role, remarking, "The job did not exist, they had not conceived of the job, and it meets all my criteria because I thought of it."
Amazing.
This scenario happens more often than you'd think when a meticulously prepared job hunter encounters an employer who has been thinking about creating a new job or solving a specific problem within their organization but hasn't yet acted on it. When a good employee walks in with a crystal clear vision of how they can add unique proactive value, demonstrating a deep understanding of the company's needs and offering a tailored solution,
They might just say yes.
they might just create the job on the spot for them. It's a powerful testament to the impact of proactive self-marketing, genuine initiative, and a profound understanding of an employer's latent, often unarticulated needs.
The heart of this entire parachute approach, the centerpiece of this self-discovery journey, is the flower exercise, vividly described as a complete picture of you, all of you, in the language of the workplace. Can you walk us through what this elaborate flower diagram looks like and what each of its 7 petals represents in this holistic career mapping tool?
Absolutely. The flower diagram is indeed a profoundly powerful graphic tool, meticulously designed to match a career to all 7 sides of you, ultimately guiding you toward your true dream job. Rich W. Feller, a student of Dick Bolles who went on to become a world-famous professor in his own right, famously called his completed flower "my lifelong companion ever since," and his guiding star, influencing 90% of the flower's items, influence our daily experience.
Wow, lifelong companion.
Yeah. It's not just an exercise. It's a living document of deep self-knowledge, clarity, and an unwavering direction. The core insight is that you are not a singular unidimensional entity. You are a complex individual. And your ideal job should ideally resonate with and leverage all 7 petals of your unique self. These petals represent distinct facets of your ideal work life. Your preferred working conditions, your favorite transferable skills, your ideal people environments, your most cherished knowledges and interests, your desired level of responsibility and salary, your preferred places to live, and finally, your overarching mission in life.
7 petals, a lot to think about.
It is. It's a holistic blueprint available in the book in a larger workbook format and even as an online course at eparachute.com, allowing for deep, ongoing reflection.
Let's truly explore some of these petals in more detail. First, the people environment petal. How do we effectively figure out our preferred work environment and, critically, the types of people we thrive with using tools like the party game and John Holland's codes?
Okay, the people environment. This raises an important question about social and cultural fit, which is absolutely crucial for long-term job satisfaction and peak performance.
Hmm.
Bolles integrates John Holland's 6 people environments. You've got realistic, investigative, artistic, social, enterprising, and conventional. RIASEC.
Okay.
These aren't just labels. They describe distinct types of workplaces and the characteristics of people who naturally thrive in them. For instance, a highly artistic type might feel creatively stifled in a rigid, conventional accounting firm, even if they're skilled with numbers.
Right, bad fit.
Bad fit. The party game is an engaging and insightful exercise. You imagine a room with different groups of people gathered in corners, each representing one of Holland's 6 types. You then choose which corners you'd instinctively be drawn to most, second most, and third most, as the groups you genuinely enjoy being with for the longest time, even if you just listen quietly.
Visualize it.
Visualize it. This exercise helps you determine your top 3 preferred Holland codes, giving you invaluable clues about the type of people, the atmosphere, and the organizational culture where you would not just work, but truly flourish and do your absolute best work. It's about finding your tribe, essentially.
Next, let's turn to my favorite transferable skills. The book provocatively states that skills is one of the most misunderstood words and powerfully challenges the common, often limiting idea that many of us feel we haven't really got any skills.
Wow.
This really resonates, especially for career changers or those feeling undervalued. What are Sidney Fine's 3 kinds of skills, and how does the ingenious 7 stories exercise help us identify our most cherished and genuinely usable ones?
Yeah, the skills piece is huge. What's truly fascinating here is how Bolles, drawing on Sidney Fine, fundamentally demystifies the concept of skills, which so often prevents people from recognizing their own immense value. Sidney Fine, often hailed as the father of the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, precisely defined 3 crucial kinds of skills that all of us possess. First, there are transferable or functional skills. These are fundamental actions like analyzing, teaching, researching, writing, or diagnosing. They're the verbs of your accomplishment.
Verbs, got it.
Second, there are special knowledges skills. These are specific subjects you've mastered, like knowledge of a particular software, a foreign language, or an industry. The nouns.
The nouns.
And third, and equally important, are self-management skills. These are your personal traits and characteristics, such as dependability, persistence, enthusiasm, or empathy. Your adjectives or adverbs.
Traits, okay.
The 7 stories exercise is ingeniously designed to uncover your most cherished transferable skills. It involves writing about 7 enjoyable accomplishments in your life: work, volunteer, personal projects, anything. For each story, you vividly describe your goal, the hurdle or challenge you faced, the step-by-step actions you took, and the measurable results you achieved.
Break it down.
Break it down. By carefully analyzing the verbs in these stories, you identify recurring patterns and prioritize your most favorite transferable skills. Bolles powerfully emphasizes always claim the highest skills you legitimately can, even skills you've developed outside of traditional employment.
Like gaming or organizing?
Exactly. Like strategic planning, from mastering complex video games, or leadership from organizing community events. These can even lead to unexpected opportunities or even college scholarships in some cases. It's about recognizing the inherent value in all your experiences.
That's a profound way to reframe our understanding of personal capabilities. Then there's the goal, purpose, or mission in life petal, which courageously goes beyond just a job title or salary. The book outlines the 9 spheres of purpose or mission. How do we begin to uncover our deeper calling, and how does this profoundly connect to our work and our overall life satisfaction?
Right, the mission petal. This prompts us to ask a critical question about existential meaning and the alignment of our work with our deepest values. Bolles introduces the 9 spheres: senses, will, heart, mind, body, self, intuition, speech, and spirit, not as rigid categories, but as powerful lenses that invite profound reflection on the kind of legacy you want to leave.
Your leg.
Your legacy. Do you want to bring more beauty, more justice, more knowledge, or more healing into the world because you were here. The book includes an entire appendix dedicated to finding your mission in life, which for many people connects deeply to their spiritual or faith traditions. However, Bolles ensures it transcends religious boundaries by emphasizing that the place God calls you to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet.
That's beautiful. Deep gladness and the world's deep hunger.
It really is. It's about finding that sacred intersection where your unique gifts, your deepest passions, and your genuine joys align with a tangible, unmet need in the world. When your work becomes an expression of this mission, it transforms from mere labor into a profound source of fulfillment.
That's a truly beautiful and inspiring way to put it. Now, the flower diagram also includes several other crucial petals. There's my preferred working conditions, where you learn to flip negative past experiences into positive desires.
Right, turn negatives into positives.
Say. My favorite knowledges, interests, subjects, which covers what you know and are genuinely enthusiastic about, categorized by expertise and enthusiasm.
Knowledge matrix, yeah.
My preferred level of responsibility and salary, which involves setting realistic financial and influence goals.
Got to know your numbers.
And my preferred places to live, using charts to analyze past living experiences and prioritize factors like weather or schools. It truly is a comprehensive, holistic picture of your ideal career and life.
Absolutely. Each of these petals contributes essential layers to a holistic picture of your ideal work and life. For my preferred working conditions, it's about systematically articulating the environment in which you perform best. For example, if you've always hated open-plan offices, you'd specify a desire for a quiet, private workspace.
Be specific.
Be specific. You'd consider factors like noise levels, dress code, travel required, remote work options, team size, management structure, fast-paced or deliberate pace. This petal empowers you to proactively seek environments where you are most productive and happy. For my favorite knowledges, interests, subjects petal, the encouragement is to cast as wide a net as possible, considering everything you've ever learned or been curious about, from formal education to hobbies, bookkeeping, flash mobs, vintage electronics, whatever.
Anything goes initially.
Anything. You then prioritize these into a matrix based on your level of expertise and your personal enthusiasm, steering you towards fields like green industries or information technology, which you can then deeply explore on OneNet Online.
That government database.
That fantastic free government database for detailed job descriptions and career planning. My preferred level of responsibility and salary petal is about gaining a realistic and honest picture of your financial needs and your aspirations for influence. This often involves tracking your current spending to create a clear budget and then calculating your required annual income.
Practical stuff.
Very practical. It's about understanding your bottom line and then strategically aiming for roles that meet both your financial requirements and your desire for impact and growth. And for my preferred place to live, it involves a detailed chart to identify key geographical factors important to you: weather, family proximity, culture, schools, crime rates.
Whatever matters to you.
Whatever matters to you. The book even offers an exercise for partners to combine their preferences. The ultimate point of all these petals is to define, with incredible clarity, what truly makes you happy, effective, and fulfilled in all these interconnected areas of your life, not just in your job title.
Once you have your meticulously completed flower diagram, providing this clear, multifaceted picture of your ideal work and life, the book then offers practical strategies for realizing its title's promise. You get to choose where you work and the 5 ways to change careers. What's the recommended systematic approach once you have this powerful self-knowledge?
Right, putting the flower into action. Bolles outlines 5 systematic, proactive steps. First, you find out what careers or work your flower points to by taking your top knowledges and skills from your diagram and showing them to at least 5 friends or professionals.
Ask for ideas.
Ask for wild guesses and suggestions about what careers or fields might match your unique profile. This leverages your network and external perspectives. Second, you try on some of those jobs before you decide, through what Bolles calls informational interviewing.
Talk to people doing the job.
Exactly. Talk to actual workers in those fields, because the best and most up-to-date information about a job's realities is found in face-to-face conversation, not just online. Third, you find out what kinds of organizations have such jobs, identifying the types of companies or institutions that employ people in your target roles.
Okay.
Fourth, you find names of particular places that interest you, without waiting for known vacancies. This is where you proactively identify specific organizations, especially small and newer companies, that align with your flower.
Target companies.
Target companies. And fifth, you research that place thoroughly before formally approaching them, using friends, LinkedIn, Glassdoor, print materials, everything to understand their culture, their needs, their challenges. This systematic, highly intentional approach helps you define a career that fits you like a glove, which dramatically increases your persistence and resilience because you're pursuing a goal that truly excites and fulfills you, not just any available position.
That's a very proactive and intentional path built on solid self-knowledge. And for those facing specific prejudices in the job market, whether due to age, ex-offender status, or even personal traits like shyness, what are the book's practical solutions and guidance for navigating these very real challenges?
Yeah, the book doesn't shy away from those realities. It directly addresses these common prejudices and offers concrete, empathetic strategies. For aging job hunters, Bolles emphasizes cultivating a positive attitude, conveying energy and enthusiasm, and, crucially, having done comprehensive life work planning that clearly defines their value proposition. The advice is to keep going on interviews until you encounter an employer who isn't prejudiced about your age, recognizing that job hunting success often requires persistence far beyond what the average person would attempt.
Persistence is key.
Absolutely. For ex-offenders, Bowles suggests valuable resources like Mark Drevno's Jails to Jobs book, which can be obtained free electronically by parachute readers, and his associated website, which offers step-by-step help and even a tattoo removal directory.
Practical help.
Very practical. Also mentioned is Dick Gaither's free, extensive 255-page ex-offender training packet providing actionable guidance. For those struggling with shyness, the book presents John Crystal's ingenious three-stage PIE method practice, informational and employment interviews later organized by Daniel Perot.
PIE. Oh,
PIE. The idea is to warm up by first talking about a pleasure topic with strangers in a no-stress environment, the P for pleasure practice stage, building comfort and conversational skills. Only after mastering this do you move to informational interviews, the I stage, and then finally to employment interviews, the E stage.
build up confidence.
Exactly. This systematic desensitization builds confidence and sharpens crucial communication skills, transforming a perceived weakness into a manageable challenge.
So what does all of this mean for you, our listener? What color is your parachute? Isn't merely a book about finding a job. It's a profound guide to understanding yourself at a deeply intrinsic level and navigating the complexities of modern work with unwavering intention and purpose. It fundamentally challenges you to look beyond simply what's available and instead to actively create a life where, as the book so beautifully puts it, your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. It's about finding your true reason for being here and bringing that unique spark to the world.
And this prompts us to ask an important question for you personally. How are you begin to cultivate your own flower diagram and apply these powerful principles to transform not just your career, but your entire life? Bolles explicitly states, you were put here on earth for a reason. You need to find it. These are the steps. It's a profound call to active participation in shaping your own destiny, rather than passively accepting whatever opportunities come your way. It encourages you to embrace the idea that a job hunt, when done well, is an unparalleled opportunity to discover and live your true mission in life.
Indeed. We've heard incredible stories and unpacked a wealth of practical, actionable advice from optimizing your digital resume to mastering interviews and strategically negotiating salary, all rooted in the crucial introspective practice of self-inventory. This book isn't just to be read, it's meant to be worked through, to be a catalyst for profound personal change. We genuinely challenge you to take these powerful ideas and let them enhance your lives. If you're ready to embark on this transformative journey and unlock your own dream career, consider picking up your own copy of Richard Bolles' What Color is Your Parachute? You can find it at your local bookstore or online retailers. It's updated every year. And for those who want to learn more, engage directly with the author's work, or maybe explore the online tools and resources we mentioned today, like the eparachute.com course or the Prioritizing Grids. We encourage you to check out Dick Bolles' website at www.jobhuntersbible.com or email him directly at dickbolles40@gmail.com.
Yeah, he's remarkably accessible.
Connecting with this incredible resource directly means you'll tap into the latest wisdom as he continues to update the book annually, making it more timely and relevant than ever. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey through What Color is Your Parachute here on the Plain Books Podcast. If you've enjoyed this deep dive and found it valuable, please take a moment to follow, subscribe, and share the Playing Books podcast with anyone in your life who might benefit from these profound insights. Your support helps us continue to bring these transformative books to life for you.
And remember, as Bolles powerfully reminds us, you got to be careful if you don't know where you're going, because you might not get there. Let this book be your compass, guiding you to a life and a career that truly counts for something meaningful.
Until next time, keep reading, keep learning, and keep playing those books.